Secretary Collins, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with WAVY TV 10 here in Hampton Roads. So I want to start with the statement that I was sent on Friday in regards to the story we ran Wednesday with Senator Tim Kaine and Congressman Bobby Scott
Yep.
when they toured the soon-to-be open outpatient clinic in Chesapeake, and they said they were concerned because there is supposed to be 550 people, or that is what the building could handle, 550 staff members, and they said it was starting with 150. You said those were, and I'm quoting, that they were lying to veterans.
Yes. It was. This is the thing that you got to look at. What they did is really inexcusable for what they did to the veteran community in your listening area, in your viewing area. Because if they'd have bothered to look, and they've been around a little while, they probably know this is true. That all of these open in phases. And the first phase will open on April 17th with about 150 people. It'll ramp up as the demand increases and more services are offered to January 26th in about 7 to 8 months now, which will be fully staffed. But they chose not to do that. They chose to go and do a political stunt and basically try to attack a president that they don't like and policies they don't like. And they didn't really care about the truth. I'm a secretary of VA that has an organization that's a pretty large organization that has to deal in truth. Because when you tell things that are not true, when you lie to veterans, you scare them. And when you lie, you also scare my employees. And I'm just not going to tolerate that. They can claim whatever they want to claim. They can I'm hypothetical this and hypothetical that about what cuts do. But when the actual reality is this facility is opening, and thanks to folks like Congresswoman Jen Kiggans, who actually helped us in this process to get the things needed to get done and push this facility to open like it has, for them to come down and have a political stunt and do this to try and scare veterans, I just am not going to sit back and let it happen. The days of complaining about the VA and making the VA the whipping post, especially for members of Congress, and then frankly doing nothing about it, are over. I'm going to fight back when you're scaring my veterans and you're scaring my employees.
So are you saying that there is precedent to this on the staffing numbers to open up?
Yes, what I just said. And yes, there is. This is the way they open. They open in phases. And again, if they'd have just bothered to call, they could have known this. That's what tells me, and now knows even further. And I've been in politics a long time. Served with Congressman Scott, also Senator Kaine as well. Look, they could have called, they could have asked, they chose not to. It's easier to go try and get a cheap political stunt in a media market than it is to actually answer the questions and be part of the solution. They want to be part of the solution, then be part of the solution. If they want to stand outside and throw stones at the VA, which most right now, if they're throwing and telling all this stuff about what's going on or what's not going on, they're not part of the solution. They're actually saying, we like the status quo. And did you actually know that the GAO for the last 10 years has said that the VA is on a high risk list for fraud, waste, and abuse, and also patient care? So in the last 10 years, in fact, the last few years with Senator Kaine and the majority in the Senate, all they decided to do was throw money and people at it, tens of billions and tens of thousands of people. And the metrics inside the VA stayed static or went down. I think it's time to a new approach. Maybe we need to spend our money more wisely. Maybe we need to cut out bureaucracy levels, keep our facilities open with great professional staff to do our health care and to do our services and to process our benefits instead of just using the VA as something to throw money out and then complain about when they don't like what's going on.
What does full staffing look like to you when you hear that word, that term, I should say?
You need to be a little bit more clear than the question.
What does, when they say full staffing 550, was that accurate? Is that the staffing that building can hold?
That'll be approximately a full staff open after all the services are open. We're starting off with primary care, mental health, and prescription services, and those will expand as we go forward.
Now, of course, there's been a lot of talk about the VA. We just spoke to an employee that's been reinstated after a probationary cut off. First and foremost, both Congresswoman Kiggans as well as Congressman Greg Murphy, both Republicans, said they did not like the way that cuts initially were going at the VA. Do you agree with that? Have they brought you those concerns?
I think there's a lot of people that want to make concern issues, and the issue is not necessarily is we're going to make VA better. We're going to possibly have differences in how we actually go forward and fulfill what President Trump in his vision of Washington, which is bringing generational change up here, may play out. What we're going to do, though, however, is my first and foremost is how do we help the veteran and make the VA, the organization, be a service organization and something that actually is taking care of our veterans, and not the unfortunately the whipping post that it's become for many who would just prefer it to stay the same because they prefer government jobs and government issues more than they do actually taking care of veterans. And I think that's the problem here. Either we want to make change or we don't want to make change. We're wanting to make change that actually helps the veteran.
I just want to follow up. So, do you believe the initial cuts were handled properly?
I think we did. The process is going through right now, and those are being handled as all things are through the court system as we go forward. We're going to continue to abide by what we did and how we did it to make sure that we're taking care of our veterans.
So now, the reports have said that the VA has had constant levels and issues of understaffing. Congresswoman Jen Kiggins has talked about that at length. How do you believe that services can be, or I guess I should say, personnel can be cut without services being jeopardized? Do you believe there's a way for that to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me. How would you say an interior designer actually helps us with patient care? How do you think a laborer, an outside laborer, helps us with patient care? How are you looking at an executive assistant in a level that comes nowhere close to patients or disability or actually affecting patient care? You know, these are the kind of things that we're looking at right now. And in an agency that has multiple layers of bureaucracy between the CBOCs and the hospitals and the basically up here at the central office of VA, these are the kind of things that need to be looked at. Do we need, basically the tens of thousands of contractors we have, the folks that are not actually in patient care and patient contact? How can we look to see if we're actually spending that money wisely? I think most people would actually want to see their government run efficiently and not just as an employment agency. We're a service organization, not an employment agency. And right now, nothing that we have done has been anything that is affected forward-facing care. Now, you made mention of shortage of staff. Have you done a story lately on any of your private hospitals or local hospitals that may have trouble recruiting nurses or doctors or CNAs or LPNs? We're all in that same area, and we all have to compete to make sure we get the best employees possible. Everybody in the healthcare industry is trying their best to get as many people as they can, and we're not stopping that. In fact, we have over 300,000 exemptions for jobs that are hired every day at the VA. So we're working very hard to make sure that when our staffing needs are there, especially for our veterans, we're going to make sure we fill them.
So can I take that as saying that you're not looking to cut frontward facing positions that deal with veterans that come into the VA each day?
I don't think I can make it any clearer for you. I mean, I'm not sure how I can, because that's all I've said since I've been here. And when I don't when I exempt 300,000 forward-facing jobs, when we've done that, and that's all we have done since we've been here, my focus is on veteran health care and veteran benefits, which they have earned.
Now, when it comes to facilities, there has been talks of restructuring the facilities. There was a now abandoned plan to get rid of the VA hospital. Do you have any plans on actual physical facilities expanding or closing?
Well, right now, all we're doing is adding new facilities that we've added 4 in just the last little bit to actually, is this one, the facility we're talking about right now in Hampton as well, to actually enhance our veteran population, especially in high growth needs. But you know, it is interesting to me. I cannot, by the way, just in case anybody's worried, I can't by myself close any hospital or any facility. That's not within my power to do. But it is interesting to me that the same Senate a few years ago in the Accountability Act voted for an air commission, which was going to look at our assets and look at hospitals where we have less than, a very small population of inpatient, or even less than that, 1 or 2 that come through that are in there at any time. And what they did was they approved it to do it unanimously. And then after the commission was named, the chairman and others in the Senate, they killed the commission because I guess they didn't want to deal with the hard questions of, are we putting our facilities where they need to be? For me, it's going to be looking at our structure, looking at our organization, and I would love to have the help of anyone in Congress that wants to look at how we best can deliver veteran care.
So would you be in favor of resurrecting that air commission?
I think that's up for the Congress to decide what they unanimously passed, if they want to actually follow their own law, but they let it expire. So that's up to the Congress. Look, we're the administrative branch of the government. We actually execute the plans of Congress, and Congress has to act on things that they've already passed if they want it done.
There's been a lot of talk about, I saw the statement that you're talking about getting rid of DEI, and you believe there has been funding savings there. For veterans that served and possibly identify with some of that gender-affirming care, is that turning our back on veterans if we don't continue with that, people that already served our country?
No, it is not. In fact, anybody who's earned the benefit at the VA has earned that benefit. They're more than welcome to their health care or their benefits. What we did say here was that gender dysphoria, we're not going to be offering services to change your sex. If you're already currently having hormone treatments, those will continue. And if you need anything else from the VA, from healthcare or your benefits, you're going to be more than welcome. In fact, if you were not welcome to the facility because of something, then let me know. I'll come in with you. We're not going to turn our backs on veterans who've earned the benefits, but we're also not going to put money into something that most will agree the VA should not be doing. We're going to take that money and put it toward paralyzed veterans in prosthetics so that they can get the help they need.
And going back to the trying to recruit healthcare professionals, how do you believe your department can better do that and compete with the private sector?
By being the absolute best we can be. Good people will not work where bad things are tolerated. And we've got to get to a position to where we're actually having the elite care, which we do in so many areas. But we've also got to fight, and it brings us back to the whole reason we're here today. It goes back to fighting innuendo and rumor and false political attacks by senators and congressmen who won't give for full information. You know how bad that makes it look when they're giving out false information? And unfortunately, when reported, people believe it. You see, this is why I'm fighting back. This is why I'm not going to allow the VA to be the whipping post in which they say they want it to be better and they give stuff, but yet at the same point, when you start to make change, they're saying don't touch anything. That's basically saying you enjoy the status quo.
Are you going to be down in Chesapeake for the opening?
I sure will.
All right, we'll see you then. Secretary Collins, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks much. Have a great day.